It's great to be back on the court tonight. Ton of stuff that we'll look at and you know utilize, improve, and work on. Obviously, we fouled way too much. Got to get much better there. Defending without fouling. They got too many offensive rebounds. That's certainly an area. I thought a lot of their rebounds we were kind of rotating and helping. Guys were doing a good job flying around, but then we didn't go hit someone after those rotations. I thought Courtney and Matt did a nice job of leading, and neither one of them necessarily played a flawless game, but they made a lot of really good plays for us. And they also did a heck of a job defensively on Javon Levi. He's a really good player. And Scott's stats are right. He had 2 points and 0 assists. He led the country in assists last year. So, our team defensively, it has to start with defense. It has to start with intensity and aggressiveness on that end of the floor. I thought we had that on and off tonight. It certainly was not 40 minutes worth. So it's an area where we need to get much more consistent.
Ryan, go ahead. Start us off.
Yeah, Shaka, there's a lot of different guys who played well, but I wanted to ask you about Kai and just sort of the off-season jump he's made and to go 6 for 6, run the floor as hard as he did, especially on that one play with 4 minutes left. I mean, he was really kind of all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, Kai, a lot of people don't know this. Kai was a track star before basketball kind of became his main sport. And, I mean, he can you see it, he can really, really run. And him and Courtney have been connecting like that on lobs, all preseason long. And it's been a really good connection. Kai's really bought into taking the right shots and getting in the paint, attacking the basket. And so he went 6 for 6 tonight because he got a lot of the right shots. And then he did a nice job rebounding on the defensive end as well.
And in your vision of how this is going to go, is tonight a kind of an example of what you expect in terms of, you don't have to say like we need this guy to go out and get us 10 and 10, or it could be several different guys.
Well, I mean, tonight's an example of, we had, 5 guys in double figures. Certainly when Andrew's playing, Andrew's our best scorer. So when he's playing, he's going to be a guy that's, shooting the ball a good amount and putting points on the board. But we need other guys to step forward. So tonight, Kai did a great job. Greg obviously was his first game. And, for him to not play very well and get a double-double, is a good sign because he can play much, much better. But I thought the guards did a nice job of, creating some shots and shooting in an efficient way.
Nick, go ahead.
Yeah, Shaka, Gerald came in and gave you all some pretty nice minutes off the bench. He was scoring, he was hitting threes for you, he was distributing, playing pretty solid defense. Where do you feel like he's at right now, returning from that back injury? Is he still, limited or slowed by that a little bit? And what do you think you can get from him moving forward?
No, he had the back injury. He made a recovery. Gerald really went through a lot of challenges in the offseason, but I give him a ton of credit for the way that he battled and, just stuck with it mentally, physically. He's put a lot of work in. What we need Gerald to do is to be a hard-rocking dude out there on the floor, playing extremely hard, aggressive, get his hands on the basketball. There was one defensive possession where he got a couple deflections in the same possession that led to a steal for us. That's what we need from him. He made a couple threes tonight, which is a huge bonus. We want him to take the right shots, the really, really good ones, which he did tonight. We need him to rebound. We need him to be really active and use his length and defend at a high level.
Yeah, and then with Greg, just watching him and just his athleticism and the energy he plays with, you can tell that he has all the tools to be a really, really good defender for y'all. I'm just curious, where is he at right now from a defensive standpoint, and what does he need to do to become a guy that can just be a disruptor and a game changer for y'all on that end?
Yeah, he's actually made a lot of progress on defense, but he's got a long to go too. It starts with being in a stance, just defense, and that will help him not be surprised whatever happens. We need him to talk much more on the defensive end. He was too quiet tonight. And then just playing with great effort, flying around. I thought he had a couple possessions where he really did a nice job of that. This was a debut for him where, I think he was really nervous coming to the game. He wanted to play really well. He did some good things, but there's a ton of stuff to take from the tape that we can improve on.
Dustin, go ahead.
Yeah, I know. As you mentioned, it certainly wasn't a perfect performance, and first game of the season, that's going to happen. But was this kind of an outline of how you guys ideally would like to play? I mean, you're getting to the free throw line first time to get your points. You're coming out and you're in full court pressure right after that. The game's kind of chaotic and very up and down, but you guys seemed kind of comfortable in that and encouraging that. Was this kind of a glimpse of what you'd like this to become?
Well, I mean, we're better that way, Dustin, when the game is chaotic and we're extending the floor and playing with active hands. But it does require an extreme, energy. And 40 minutes is a long time. I think that the big key is we want to do that. We want to play in a hectic kind of style with making the other team kind of take them out of what they want to do. But then there's going to be possessions where we have to really sit down and defend in the half court. And there's going to be possessions in the half court on our offensive end where we need to execute better than we did tonight. I thought UTRGV actually did a good job of changing defenses and kind of getting us on our heels a little bit, which we knew they would do. Honestly, Matt and Courtney, we're fortunate that Matt and Courtney made some plays. We need to do a better job as a group, kind of keeping our poise and attacking whatever defense they throw at us.
And, like everybody, trying to get used to playing college basketball during a pandemic, I don't know how much you can share about this, but what was the process that led into, holding Andrew out for precautionary reasons, and kind of what was that conversation like? And is he okay?
Well, I'm going to call him as soon as we get off here. I haven't talked to him since before the game, but, we had shoot around. He was great. He was smiling and shooting the ball in. And the game started. I got a call from our trainer. And so Andrew had just a cough. But the way it works now with the COVID protocols, if you have, certain symptoms, then you have to be held out. So, he was negative on a COVID test yesterday. The way it works when anyone has symptoms is you get tested again. So he'll be tested in the morning, but, I'm going to check in with him. Hopefully he's feeling. Man, I mean, probably of all of our guys, I was most excited to see him play tonight because he's had such a good offseason. His attitude and a terrific, and he's really played well. So it's interesting. It's a good test for me of my own things that I hit these guys with in terms of philosophy. And we say, when stuff like that happens, we got to be adaptable. We got to be flexible. I felt myself for a minute or two, man, Andrew's not playing, but we got to kind of take a next man up mentality and hope that he is fine tomorrow and we can move forward.
Jeff, go ahead.
Hey, Shaka, a couple quick questions. Will and Kamaka didn't play tonight. I just didn't know if you had kind of a long-term outlook on what the play time looks like for both those guys, and then what do the next couple of days look like before you guys go to Asheville?
So Kamaka, before the NCAA granted everybody a red shirt, basically, Kamaka was planning where he was going to redshirt this year. He's awesome. I mean, he's so, team oriented, and I almost actually threw him in when they were playing zone. Kind of making the decision to play a couple other guys. So it wasn't really, anything other than, we felt like the 9 guys that went in and played were the guys we needed to play. And then in Will's case, Will actually, he and I have had some conversation. He really wants to, take this year to just focus on his growth in practice, getting better. Even though everybody gets a red shirt this year, he kind of wants to look at it that way. And so he would have played tonight if it wasn't for that. There was a couple times, obviously, with all the foul trouble we had, and he'd have gone in and Will has really played well in practice. Jericho's played his butt off in practice. I know it didn't look like it tonight, but Jericho's known for kind of his first game kind of starting slow. So hopefully we can get better from there. But Will's made a ton of progress, and we just want to help him continue his growth.
But 2 last ones, Cedric, then Brian.
Shaka, you've coached in the Final Four. Were your teams as deep as this one? You just seem like you have so much more depth this year.
Yeah, we played a lot of guys. We have really good depth. I mean, Jace Febris wasn't out there. Andrew obviously wasn't out there. So, we have a lot of guys that are capable of going in and playing. The big key, Cedric, is going to be, just the lineups together, who's playing well together and who can mesh together, and, figuring out who can really, really understand their role, who can come in the game and really lift our energy up, who can come in the game and rebound, which we didn't do well enough tonight, who can come in the game and stop a specific guy from scoring. So that's still a work in progress.
How much can you use the meritocracy card, knowing that you have so many guys that can get the job done? If some guy's not playing well, maybe in the past you still had to play him, but now you don't really have to.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I mean, they always say the bench is the best motivator. It's going to be interesting because, like tonight, for instance, there was a couple guys that, like kind of allowed to play through some mistakes, Greg being one of them. But obviously, as you go up in the level of competition, you can't make as many mistakes. And so we got to get better quick with our younger, talented guys, like Greg, our sophomores, who I thought, Kai obviously had a terrific game. Donovan came in and helped us. We got to continue to get tougher with really all of our guys. Sometimes it's going to be a matter of who are the 5 toughest guys to go in the game and kind of grit out possessions. So that's again something we're working through and figuring out.
Last one, go ahead, Brian.
Shaka, along those lines, I mean, does it say something that Brock was one of the first subs off the bench in terms of toughness and violence and all the things you're looking for?
Yeah, I mean, he's earned that. He before Andrew went out, Brock was going to be the second guy off the bench. But without Andrew tonight, it was Brock and Gerald right away wanted to get those guys in there. Brock is a guy, when he loses himself in a fight, he's awesome. We saw that some at the end of last year. I thought tonight he got a little caught up in calls and stuff like that. He's a perfectionist. I mean, he wants to do so well for the team. He's such a team-oriented guy. But we're going to need him to go in there and just be a tough, gritty, defensive-minded guy. And so he's a big, big key on our team.
And then I'm asking this, knocking on wood, as I ask this, but there's already been a lot of cancellations, postponements in the sport already. I mean, just how nervous are you to go to North Carolina right now and stay basically the week, and what all's going on there?
Well, obviously, with all that stuff, the decisions on what to do are ultimately made by the medical folks. We have really good medical personnel here at UT. They really feel like the folks that run the Maui tournament have gone above and beyond with just their level of detail with protocols and safety. Now, that being said, I mean, we all know, things can happen. So, I think the big key is continuing to keep our guys safe, our guys keeping each other safe. We get on the plane, making sure we're safe during travel. And then, it sounds like that they have the hotel pretty, it's not technically a full-fledged bubble, but they have it, pretty locked down. And we're not going to really be doing much outside of the hotel and the court. So, I always defer, Brian, to Dr. Bray and the medical folks. And we've had Zoom calls every week, and I ask them every week, where are we at? How do you feel about this? Because I had the same question you had, going back a couple months. But they feel good about it, and some of it's going to require just some good fortune.
Mm-hmm.